What is the primary purpose of using an arterial filter in the cardiopulmonary bypass system? A. To regulate the rate of blood flow to the patient. B. To remove air and particulate matter from the blood before returning it to the patient. C. To monitor the oxygenation of the blood. D. To adjust the temperature of the blood being returned to the patient. Answer: B. To remove air and particulate matter from the blood before returning it to the patient. Explanation: the arterial filter removes air bubbles, clots, and other particulate matter from the blood before it is returned to the patient's arterial system. This is essential to prevent embolism, which could lead to complications like stroke or organ damage. Which of the following monitoring techniques is used to detect air embolism during cardiopulmonary bypass? A. Pulse oximetry. B. Arterial blood pressure monitoring. C. Ultrasonic air detection. D. Central venous pressure monitoring. Answer: C. Ultrasonic air detection. Explanation: ultrasonic air detectors are used during cardiopulmonary bypass to detect the presence of air bubbles in the blood. Air embolism is a serious complication that can lead to stroke or organ damage, so detecting and removing any air from the circuit is crucial. What is the primary function of the venous reservoir in a cardiopulmonary bypass circuit? A. To provide oxygen to the blood. B. To collect venous blood and prevent air entry into the circuit. C. To regulate blood flow from the oxygenator. D. To store blood for future use during surgery. Answer: B. To collect venous blood and prevent air entry into the circuit. Explanation: the venous reservoir collects the deoxygenated blood returning from the patient. It also helps to prevent air from entering the circuit and acts as a buffer to accommodate variations in venous return, maintaining a stable blood volume in the circuit. Why is the activated clotting time, ACT, monitored during cardiopulmonary bypass? A. To assess the effectiveness of the blood oxygenation process. B. To ensure that the anticoagulation is adequate and the blood is not clotting. C. To measure the blood flow rate through the circuit. D. To monitor the temperature of the blood. Answer: B. To ensure that the anticoagulation is adequate and the blood is not clotting. Explanation: the ACT is used to monitor the level of anticoagulation during cardiopulmonary bypass. Since the blood is outside the body, anticoagulation is essential to prevent clotting within the circuit, which could cause blockages or embolism. Which of the following devices is essential for providing gas exchange during cardiopulmonary bypass? A. Oxygenator. B. Roller pump. C. Arterial filter. D. Blood warmer. Answer: A. Oxygenator. Explanation: the oxygenator is the device responsible for providing gas exchange during cardiopulmonary bypass. It oxygenates the blood and removes carbon dioxide, mimicking the function of the lungs, ensuring that the blood returned to the patient is oxygen-rich. What is the role of the cardiopulmonary bypass circuit's arterial line during surgery? A. To monitor the patient's oxygen saturation. B. To measure the blood pressure in the arterial system. C. To return blood to the patient after it has been oxygenated. D. To regulate the blood flow through the bypass circuit. Answer: C. To return blood to the patient after it has been oxygenated. Explanation: the arterial line carries oxygenated blood from the oxygenator and returns it to the patient's arterial system. This ensures that oxygenated blood is supplied to the patient's tissues and organs during the surgical procedure. In a cardiopulmonary bypass circuit, what is the primary purpose of the roller pump? A. To oxygenate the blood. B. To circulate blood through the circuit. C. To monitor blood gas levels. D. To measure blood pressure. Answer: B. To circulate blood through the circuit. Explanation: the roller pump is responsible for circulating blood through the cardiopulmonary bypass circuit. It moves blood through the oxygenator and back to the patient, ensuring that blood flow is continuous and that adequate perfusion is maintained. During cardiopulmonary bypass, why is it necessary to carefully monitor the patient's temperature? A. To prevent hypovolemia. B. To avoid hypercapnia. C. To avoid the risk of brain damage due to ischemia. D. To prevent both hypothermia and hyperthermia. Answer: D. To prevent both hypothermia and hyperthermia. Explanation: monitoring the patient's temperature is essential to avoid both hypothermia and hyperthermia during cardiopulmonary bypass. Hypothermia can protect organs by slowing metabolism, while hyperthermia can increase the risk of organ damage. Maintaining an appropriate temperature is vital for patient safety. What is the typical target range for activated clotting time, ACT, during cardiopulmonary bypass? A. 80 to 120 seconds. B. 180 to 240 seconds. C. 300 to 400 seconds. D. 500 to 600 seconds. Answer: B. 180 to 240 seconds. Explanation: during cardiopulmonary bypass, the ACT is typically maintained in the range of 180 to 240 seconds, depending on the patient's condition and the surgical procedure. This range ensures adequate anticoagulation to prevent clot formation while minimizing bleeding risks. What is the function of the cardioplegia system during open-heart surgery on cardiopulmonary bypass? A. To regulate the patient's blood pressure. B. To induce cardiac arrest and protect the heart during surgery. C. To monitor the patient's central venous pressure. D. To oxygenate blood before returning it to the patient. Answer: B. To induce cardiac arrest and protect the heart during surgery. Explanation: the cardioplegia system delivers a solution that induces cardiac arrest by affecting the myocardial cells, usually by increasing potassium concentration. This helps protect the heart from ischemic damage during surgery by temporarily stopping its activity.